Christina Lee Christy Hemme is an American professional wrestling valet, retired professional wrestler, ring announcer, former model and singer currently signed to Total Nonstop Action Wrestling performing as a TNA Knockout, ring announcer and interviewer. She is also known for her time in WWE as a WWE Diva and is the winner of the 2004 WWE Diva Search, receiving $250,000 and a one-year contract with the company. Early life: Hemme was born in Poway, California, but she grew up in Temecula, California. She enjoyed racing street bikes and dirt bikes. She was a self-described tomboy. She grew up watching wrestling and favored The Undertaker. She was a cheerleader for 2 years at Temecula Valley High. She graduated in 1998 at age 17. Hemme attended Mount San Jacinto College, where she majored in dance. Modeling career: after graduating, she relocated to Los Angeles, California to pursue a career in modeling. Hemme initially joined a burlesque dance team known as the Perfect Angels. She performed at Easy Rider tours and Harley motorcycle rallies. She went on to appear in magazines such as Maxim, Playboy, Rolling Stone, and Stuff. In addition, she appeared in the music video of the Trace Adkins songs Chrome and Hunky Tonk Badonkadonk, and in videos for bands Blink-182 and Sonic. She also had parts in commercials for AT&T Corporation and Trim Spa, and she was a spokes model for Hawaiian Tropic. Other early jobs included a waitressing job at Hooters. In past years, her image has also been found on bench warmer trading cards as Christy Suni Hemme. As Suni, she was BULLZ-I.com's featured model in September 2002. Her modeling career led to her joining the cast of Comedy Central's The Man Show as a member of the Dougie Dance Squad in 2003. Hemme remained with the series for a year, during which she appeared on The Commies, a Comedy Central-produced award show, on December 7, 2003. Hemme took part in the 2004 Lingerie Bowl. She appeared on the cover of the April 2005 issue of Playboy magazine. Before appearing nude in the magazine, Hemme got the permission of her father, who had previously requested that she never pose nude. She also competed as a quarterback for the Chicago Bliss Lingerie Football League team in the 2006 Lingerie Bowl. Professional wrestling career: World Wrestling Entertainment, Diva Search. In the mid-2004, Hemme participated in the Diva Search, a competition held by World Wrestling Entertainment in order to recruit new divas. In the course of the competition, Hemme and the 5 other finalists faced 7 existing divas in a game of dodgeball at SummerSlam on August 15, eliminating all 8 divas with the loss of just one finalist, Joy Giovanni. Hemme was announced as the winner of the competition on September 20, with a prize of a one-year contract with WWE with remuneration of $250,000. Brand switches: Hemme began her WWE career as a member of the Raw roster. She quickly began a feud with Carmella Desir, the runner-up of the Diva Search. The feud culminated in a lingerie pillow fight at Taboo Tuesday on October 19, with Hemme defeating her opponent by pinfall. Following her feud with Desir, Hemme began a rivalry with WWE Women's Champion Trish Stratus. Stratus along with Molly Holly and Gail Kim threw Hemme an initiation party, but it soon turned into a 3-on-1 bra and panties handicap match. Hemme was easily beaten. Stratus was ostensibly scornful of Hemme's appearance in the April 2005 issue of Playboy. Stratus interrupted Hemme's Playboy unveiling and spray-painted all over the cover. Hemme responded by slapping her. This resulted in Stratus delivering a cheer kick to her and spraying the word slut on her back. Hemme eventually challenged Stratus to a match at WrestleMania 21, with Stratus's nemesis Lita training her in the weeks preceding the event. At WrestleMania 21 on April 3, Hemme unsuccessfully challenged Stratus for the Women's Championship. In the months after WrestleMania, Hemme began another feud with Victoria, who claimed to be jealous of the opportunities afforded to Hemme. Hemme would feud with Victoria during Raw house shows, defeating her on several occasions. On the June 6 episode of Raw, Hemme teamed up with Rosie and the Hurricane in a losing effort to Victoria and the Heartthrobs in a 6-person mixed tag team match. The feud culminated in a bout at Vengeance on June 26, which Victoria won after countering Hem's sunset flip move by using the ropes to pin Hem. With her feud with Victoria over, Hem briefly aligned herself with Eugene before she and Stacy Keibler were traded to SmackDown. In exchange for Candice Michelle and Tori Wilson on August 25. On the September 30 episode of SmackDown, Hem began a feud with Melina, the valet of MNM, after losing to her in a singles match, in the process joining forces with the Legion of Doom. At No Mercy on October 9, Hem and the Legion of Doom defeated MNM in a six-person intergender tag team match. On the November 5 episode of SmackDown, Hem defeated Melina in a bra and panties match. Her feud with Melina continued into November, with Melina defeating Hem in two televised singles bouts. Ohio Valley Wrestling and departure. On November 30, Hem debuted in Ohio Valley Wrestling, a WWE developmental territory, aligning herself with Matt Cappotelli in opposition to Aaron Stevens, Beth Phoenix, and Shelly Martinez. On the December 7 edition of OVW TV tapings, Hem teamed up with Cappotelli in a winning effort, defeating Aaron Stevens, Beth Phoenix, and Shelly Martinez in a 3-on-2 handicap match. On December 5, 2005, she was released from her WWE contract. The release happened shortly after WWE asked her to relocate to Louisville, Kentucky to train at OVW. The company cited budget cuts and the creative team having nothing for her as the reason for her dismissal. Years later, in November 2008, in her column for TNWrestling.com, Hem stated her departure from WWE was on her own terms because, "I stuck to my guns on my morals and values as a human being. I knew in my gut that it would be the end, but I also knew that carrying guilt for knowingly doing something against what I believed wasn't worth getting ahead. Leaving broke my heart. But doing the right thing is something I will always be proud of." Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, managing. Hem signed with Total Nonstop Action Wrestling in April 2006, and she debuted on April 23 at Lockdown. In addition to her hosting role on Impact, she was also the co-host of the internet show TNA Global Impact with Jeremy Borash. At Hardcore War, Hem refereed a match between Tracy and Gail Kim. In July 2006, she was featured on the Women of Action special. She also began traveling to Windsor, Ontario to train under TNA agent Scott D'Amore in between TNA TV tapings. She was also Knockout of the Year for 2006. On January 14, 2007, at Final Resolution, Christie came out and interrupted the Voodoo Kin Mafia and cut a promo about the involvement of women in wrestling. She said that she wanted to wrestle to €1, and the mostly male crowd in the TNA arena jeered her. Kip James called her a slut, which garnered him a slap from Hem, while BG James attempted to play peacemaker. In the process, the angle turned Christie into a villainess. In the following weeks, Kip and Hem got into a few arguments over his lack of respect for her and women as a whole. Hem made her TNA in-ring debut at Against All Odds, where she wrestled and defeated the big fat oily guy in a tuxedo match, but after his match Kip James stripped her. On the March 8 version of Impact, Hem asked Jim Cornette for a match pitting VKM against her new, previously undisclosed, team. At Destination X, Cornette consented and booked the match. On the pay-per-view, the villainous Hem introduced the Heartbreakers. Despite Hem's attempts to give Kip a low blow, VKM defeated her team, who she later browbeat at ringside. Hem later announced that she had found another team to face the VKM. At the pre-show prior to the Lockdown pay-per-view, the mystery team was revealed to be Serotonin, but VKM defeated them as well. She then brought in Basham and Damaja as her new permanent tag team in her battle with VKM. They beat Kip in a handicap match at Sacrifice, as BG had been attacked by them earlier in the night. At Slammiversary, VKM beat Basham and Damaja, but VKM's associate Lance Hoyt turned on them and kissed Hem. Basham and Damaja were then released from the company, and Hoyt formed a partnership with Jimmy Rave, named the Rock and Rave Infection, with Hem as their manager. In the winter of 2007, Hem, Rave, and Hoyt entered into a feud with the Latin American Exchange faction after being attacked several times by a mysterious assailant. The assailant was revealed to be Salinas at Final Resolution following Lax's victory over the Infection. Shortly after Final Resolution, the Rock and Rave Infection began a new gimmick, acting as though they were a rock band with Hem portraying the lead singer. On the March 13 episode of Impact, Hem, Rave and Hoyt won a six-person tag team match against Lax after Hem hit Salinas with a guitar. At No Surrender, Hem, Hoyt, and Rave lost in an intergender six-person tag team match against the Prince Justice Brotherhood. Singles competition. On the October 16, 2008 edition of Impact, Rock and Rave were attacked by Kurt Angle and were sent to the hospital. As Hem attempted to leave the building and go to the hospital, the Beautiful People and Cute Kip confronted and insulted her, which led to the trio attacking her and performing the brown paper bag treatment on her. Hem completed her face turn by defeating Velvet Sky on the October 23, 2008 edition of Impact. She feuded with them, which resulted in 2 consecutive tag team matches with ODB and Sojourner Bolt respectively. After showcasing improved wrestling skills, Hem was then placed into a more active in-ring role, being pushed to challenge Awesome Kong for the TNA Women's Knockout Championship at Final Resolution after defeating Resha Saeed on the November 27 edition of TNA Impact. Hem then teamed with AJ Styles in a mixed tag team match against Awesome Kong and Scott Steiner, where Hem pinned Kong. At Final Resolution, it appeared Hem was about to win the title, but was attacked by Saeed and Reka Khan, thus winning on a disqualification. Hem was then granted a rematch at Genesis. A week later Hem teamed with ODB against Khan and Saeed in a winning effort. On January 2009, Hem sustained a neck injury while training in the ring with Styles for her match and would be unable to compete at Genesis against Awesome Kong. Her injury required surgery and she was out of action for about 7 months. Hem returned to TNA programming on the August 13, 2009 episode of Impact, defeating Sojourner Bolt via pinfall. The next week on Impact, she formed an alliance with Tara, when they helped save Madison Rayne from the Beautiful People. Later that night, Hem competed in a 4-way match against Sarita, Awesome Kong and Tracy Brooks. Brooks won the match after she pinned Hem. On the September 3 edition of Impact, Hem competed in the first round of the tournament for the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championship alongside her tag partner Tara against Sojourner Bolt and Hamada, which Hem and Tara won. However, on September 17, the duo lost in the semi-finals to the Beautiful People due to interference from Madison Rayne. On the October 1 edition of Impact, Christy Hem defeated Tracy Brooks in a battle of the Playboy models, but was attacked by Tracy after the match. On the October 29 edition of Impact, Hem teamed with Hamada and ODB in a 6-knockout tag team match, where they were defeated by Madison Rayne, Velvet Sky and Lacey Von Erich, after Von Erich pinned Hem. This would turn out to be her final TNA match. Backstage interviewer and ring announcer, on the December 10 edition of Impact, Hem debuted in her new role as a backstage interviewer. On December 16, 2009, Hem announced her retirement from in-ring competition after her last match in a gauntlet. On April 7, 2010, Dixie Carter announced on her Twitter account that Hem had signed a new multi-year deal with the company. On the December 2 edition on Impact, Hem was involved in a small backstage catfight with Cookie during a brawl with Cookie's cohort X Division champion Robbie and Jay Lethal. On the December 16 edition of Impact, Hem came out during an X Division championship match between Robbie and Lethal and handcuffed herself to Cookie, thus preventing her from interfering in the match and subsequently costing Robbie the X Division championship. After the match Hem and Lethal celebrated, which led to a kiss between the two. Since the April 28, 2011 edition of Impact, Hem served in her new role as a ring announcer. On the September 20, 2012 episode of Impact Open Fight Night, Hem was called out by Tara, only to be attacked by her after she refused to say Tara was her favorite knockout. Miss Tess Matcher then made the save for Hem. In November 2013, Hem was put in a storyline with Samuel Shaw, after Hem interviewed Shaw in his home. Shaw later became an obsessed fan of Hem, and started asking her on dates, including one in his house where it was shown how Shaw had a room full of posters and pictures of Hem. On the February 6 episode of Impact Wrestling, Hem confronted Shaw about the mannequin and the room full of posters. Hem was confronted by Shaw on the February 27 edition of Impact Wrestling after an incident the previous week in which he was injured when Shaw attacked Mr. Anderson. Hem was used as a shield by Shaw to fend off Mr. Anderson after Anderson attempted to save Hem from Shaw after she slapped him, as well as exact revenge for the previous week's attack. On April 7, 2014, Hem was announced as member of the creative team. Independent Circuit. In November 2006, Hem participated in the Queens of Chaos shows in Paris, France. She wrestled 2 matches with April Hunter. Hem won the first match, but lost the second. She then defeated British wrestler Minx to earn the right to referee the championship match, which was eventually won by Hunter. On July 21, 2007, Hem defeated Ann Brookstone at a Heavy-On Wrestling event in Superior, Wisconsin, with Nora Greenwald acting as special guest referee. She has also competed in Women's Superstars Uncensored under the ring name Christy Hem. Christy made her debut for Northeast Wrestling on the November 7, 2009 at the Saugerties Slam pay-per-view, where competed against Velvet Sky. On November 13, at the Heart Attack pay-per-view, Hem captured her first victory, defeating Alex Xisinvi with Kurt Adonis as the special guest referee. On November 14, at the new special event Autumn Ambush pay-per-view, Hem defeated Lee Morrison in a singles match. On May 14, 2011, Hem made her debut for Family Wrestling Entertainment at the Meltdown pay-per-view, as a special guest referee for match between fellow Knockouts Winter and Rossiter. Music and acting. In September 2006, Hem recorded a song entitled Society Box, which was featured on TNA's November 21, 2006 music release, Third Degree Burns. Hem is also the founder and lead singer in HEMME. The band released 5 songs on their MySpace, In This Moment, Visit Me Mum, Shine, Dear You, and Dirty. The songs have since been removed following the departure of original members Randy Slick Ramirez, Steve Slide Goodwin, Roland Rollin Maniago, and Rocky Rock Ramirez, all from the band Polaris. Christy has now released another song, Don't Give Up, on her official MySpace, One, and HEMME EP named, Where Are You?, which is available on iTunes, also featuring Randy Slick Ramirez on 3 songs and co-written by Hem as Christy Hem on vocals, Eric Rock Friedman on guitar, Tim Miller on bass, and Garrett Whitlock on drums. In December 2006, Hem recorded a scene for Bloodstained Memoirs, a wrestling documentary. Her scene can be seen in the special extras of the DVD. Hem made her acting debut in the film Fallen Angels, portraying the deadly Sin Lust. She also filmed a role in another horror film tentatively titled Bubba's Chili Parlor, playing a zombie. In November 2010 she was a contestant on an all-TNA week of Family Feud, teaming with Angelina Love, Lacey Von Erich, Tara and Velvet Sky against Jay Lethal, Matt Morgan, Mick Foley, Mr. Anderson and Rob Van Dam. She also directs seasonal promotions for the Knockouts division in TNA, and designed WrestlingKnockouts.com. Personal life. Hem has a brother, David, and a sister, Deanna Hem, who is also a model. Hem is an avid motorcyclist. She owns a Harley-Davidson Dyna Lowrider. Hem is married to Charlie Patterson. On August 20, 2014, Hem announced she is expecting her first child. Video game, WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. In wrestling, finishing moves, FFG a Euro flying Fury crotch guillotine, reverse twist of fate a Euro adopted from Lita. Signature moves, inverted DDT, leaping clothesline, reverse DDT, snap DDT, split-legged sunset flip from out of the corner, as a counter to an oncoming opponent, victory roll, facebuster sometimes while kneeling or spinning. Managers, Lita, Tara. Wrestlers managed, Basham and Damaja, Eugene, Matt Capitelli, Hardcore Holly, The Heartbreakers, Lance Hoyt, Legion of Doom, The Rock and Rave Infection, Serotonin, Deanna Ringer, Tracy Brooks, Tara. Entrance themes: WWE, Walk Idiot Walk by the Hives, Gangsta Grunt. OVW, Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard. TNA, Wasting Away by Manic Drive, Society Box by Christy Hemme and Dale Oliver, Infection by Dale Oliver, Redheads Rock by Dale Oliver. Championships and Accomplishments, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, PWI ranked her number 42 of the best 50 female singles wrestlers in the PWI Female 50 in 2008. Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, Knockout of the Year. World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE Diva Search. References. External links, official fan site, Christy Hemme's profile on WWE.com. Christy Hemme at the Internet Movie Database, interview, TNA profile, Online World of Wrestling profile.